guys, this is Lovely. In this video, I will show you to what is really the role of the government in business. But before that, let's define the government and business first. The government is the political system by which country or community is administered and regulated. It is the system or a group of people governing an organized community, often a state, but also other entities, like for example, companies, especially in the case of colonial companies. While business, it is defined as an organization or enterprising entity engaged in commercial, industrial, or professional activities. Businesses can be for-profit entities or they can be non-profit organizations that operate to fulfill a charitable mission or further a social cause. The role of the government has three levels in which it can affect businesses in some way. The European Union, national, and the local. In European Union, laws are created and passed on to the member countries and businesses within the country to follow. For example, a minimum wage, like businesses must pay minimum wage to their staff and workers' right protection. In national, government creates laws for businesses that states what they can and cannot do. For example, businesses and charities must register before they start to operate. In local, the local government will pass on laws that affect businesses locally. For example, lower business rates to attract new businesses, and opening hours of local nightclubs. Governments create rules and frameworks in which businesses are able to compete against each other. From time to time, the government will change these rules and frameworks, forcing businesses to change the way they operate. Business is thus keenly affected by government policy. The key areas of government policy that affect business are economic policy and the legal change. key area of government is economic policy, that is the rule that the government gives to the state in the economy. Between 1945 and 1979, the government increasingly interfered in the economy by creating state-run industries, which usually took the form of public corporations. However, from 1979 onwards, we saw an era of privatization in which industries were sold off to private shareholders to create a more competitive business environment. The three key areas of government and economic policy are taxation policy, the interest rates, and the government spending policy. Taxation policy. Affects business costs. For example, a rise in corporation tax like on business profits has the same effect as an increase in costs. Businesses can pass some of this tax on the consumers in higher prices, but it will also affect the bottom line. Other business taxes are environmental taxes, like for example the landfill tax, and VAT or the value-added tax. VAT is actually passed down the line to the final consumer, but administration of the VAT system is a cost for business. Another area of economic policy relates to interest rates. In this country, the level of interest rates is determined by a government-appointed group like the Monetary Policy Committee, which meets every month. A rise in interest rates raises the cost of business of borrowing money and also causes consumers to reduce expenditure, like leading to a fall in business sales. Government spending policy also affects business. For example, if the government spends more on schools, this will increase the income of businesses that supply schools with books, equipment, and etc. Another key area of government policy that affect business is the legal changes. The government of the day regularly changes laws in line with political policies. As a result, businesses are continually having to respond to changes in the legal framework. Examples of legal changes include Number 1. The creation of a national minimum wage, which has recently been extended to under 18s. Number 2. Requirement for businesses to cater for disabled people by building ramps into offices, shops, and etc. Number 3. providing higher, increasingly tighter protection for consumers to protect them against unscrupulous business practice. And number 4. Creating tighter rules on what constitutes fair competition between businesses. In Philippines, we have this what we call the Philippine Competition Act, or the PCA, or the RA number 10667 is the primary competition policy of the Philippines for promoting and protecting competitive market. It will protect the well-being of the consumers and preserve the efficiency of competition in the marketplace. The PCA was passed in 2015 after languishing in Congress for 24 years. It is a game-changing legislation that is expected to improve consumer protection and help accelerate investment and job creation in the country, consistent with the national government's goal of creating more inclusive economic growth. Enforcement of this law will help ensure that markets are open and free, challenging anti-competitive business practices while maintaining an environment where businesses can compete based on the quality of their work. A competitive market means a market with multiple buyers and multiple sellers, driving market prices lower and offering consumers more choices. A truly competitive market encourages efficiency and innovation and forces businesses to excel. The act reflects the belief that competition promotes entrepreneurial spirit, encourages private investments, facilitates technology development and transfer, and enhances resource productivity. Recently, President Rodrigo Duterte, in the presence of Congress leaders, signed into law the Republic Act No. 11032, or the Ease of Doing Business and Efficient Government Service Delivery Act, on Monday, May 28, 2020. The new law, an amendment of the Anti-Red Tape Act of 2007, seeks to make the process of putting up and running a business in the Philippines easier and more efficient. Duterte hopes the law will solve the perennial problem of bureaucratic red tape in government and spare people of intolerable waiting time. The salient features of the law, based on the consolidated versions of the House and Senate bills and Duterte's speech, are: standardized deadline for government transactions. Simple transactions of business entities with government should be processed within 3 days, 7 days for more substantial transactions, and 20 days for highly technical transactions. single unified business application form. The new law does away with entrepreneurs having to fill up multiple forms for various government agencies just to put up their business. The law mandates the use of a single form that incorporates past separate forms on local taxes, sanitary permit, zoning clearance, building clearance, fire clearance, and other usual government unit or LG requirements. There will be a unified form for business permits and business renewals, environmental and agricultural clearance, sanitary permits, and other local permits will be issued along with the business permit, which shall be valid for 1 year. Business One-Stop Shop. To put up a business, one need only visit one facility. The law orders local governments to put up a one-stop shop or a facility that puts zoning offices, business permit and licensing offices, the Bureau of Fire Protection and Treasury offices in one location. Automated electronic system. The local government units are required to automate their system for processing business permits. They should also put up an electronic business one-stop shop within 3 years of the new law's enactment. The Zero Contact Policy. A new feature is a provision in the law that states that, save for the preliminary assessment of the business application and submitted requirements, no government officer or employee shall have any contact in any manner unless strictly necessary with any applicant or requesting party concerning an application or request. The provision is designed to eliminate corruption in agencies that process business applications. Central Business Portal and Philippine Business Data Bank. The Department of Information and Communications Technology or DICT will establish a central business portal that will receive all business applications. A Philippine Business Data Bank, meanwhile, will serve as a repository of information on all registered businesses in the country which government agencies and LGUs may use as resource for verification purposes. Now, you know how important the role of government is when it comes to doing business. That's all for today. Thanks for watching.